Okay guys, here is a 2023 updated version of how to do a black background portrait for these horse sale photos. This is going to be very tedious and a long video, so pull up a chair, get comfortable, and let's do this. If I go too fast for you, just remember you can stop, pause, rewind, fast forward, do all the things. So let's get started. First off, I'm going to make a new layer that can do and be capable of everything. There are many ways to do this. This is how I do it. Shift, Option, Command, N, E. Shifts all the layers up, but just what I'm used to. And now I'm going to come over to my gradient tool, making sure that black is the forefront color and the background color is white. So now I'm going to drag from the corner this way and then also this way until I kind of am getting rid of that background. That's starting to look a little bit better. Just kind of do it until the background is dense enough for me to not see things. So there we go. I'm happy with that, but now it's blacked out our horse. So let's use a masking layer. I'm going to press the brush key. I'm making sure that it's on black and that my opacity is 100%. Now I'm going to brush this horse very quickly back in. Don't spend too much time on this. It's not worth it. Okay. Perfect. So now we've got our horse brush back in. Now I'm going to do the tedious part. So I'm going to press X, which is going to now paint with white. The white color means it's going, this brush, masking brush is going to paint back in. So we are going to slowly but surely paint back in all of this. I'm going to give you a few techniques that I use to make this a little less time consuming. If you're like me and you do a ton of these black backgrounds, there's, a ton of different ways to do it. You can send these out to people and to be done instead of wasting your life away tediously doing black background portraits, because it does take a lot of time, guys. That's why we charge a lot to our clients for these, especially, in this scenario, I'm doing this horse under saddle. I'm also doing this horse bareback, naked without a saddle on and just a halter. So that's a lot of line drawing and photoshopping. But generally when I get into Photoshop, I make a background, a new layer, I do my gradient, and then I outline my horse. And this is honestly, I would use a soft brush. I'm going to show you how soft this brush is. Here's my settings for that brush. If you don't know how to size a brush, I do have tutorials here. I have them on YouTube, and you can go check it out. But I love to recreate this video once a year. Just, I come across new techniques, just running into clients wanting different things. We all evolve as a photographer, and man, if we are not evolving, then you're not doing it right. If you're not learning something new every year that makes your process easier, then you're not doing it right. That's why going to workshops and, continuously learning is just so dang important. You can see that the brush now is lighter here because I'm getting down low onto my gradient on the image. But I pretty much am just making an outline. I use a technique that helps with a bit of straighter lines. And so what I'm doing is I'm clicking the brush down, and then I'm putting my mouse where I want the line to go, and I'm clicking the shift button, and it will create a somewhat straight line for you. And I pretty much just hold my finger down on the shift button here. So I just hover my hand over that shift button. When I was learning Photoshop, I learned, my mentor would always say, you know somebody who is skilled in Photoshop just based off of where they put their hands when they sit down at a computer. And I always thought that was very interesting because it's so true. You know, somebody who spends a lot of time in Lightroom and Photoshop, they are going to hover their hand over that left bottom corner of the keyboard. So, yeah, you know, people have spent a lot of hours there if they're just automatically sit down and that's where their hand goes. So I'm just shift click, and it's kind of creating some straight lines for me. When I'm making, you know, a less straight line, I'm making more clicks. And when I have more space to go, you know, with a straighter line, then I don't have to click as much. So a couple things. This video will be on YouTube. It's also going to go into my educational group. If you are not involved in the educational group, it's pretty neato. It is a group for equestrian photographers, up and coming photographers, and also, you know, photographers that have been doing this for years. And I'm teaching this kind of stuff on a daily basis. So I'm doing, you know, tutorials, techniques, tips, tricks, and then we also have a monthly, a weekly Zoom class that we are all joining together, and it's every Monday at 5:30, and that's Pacific Standard Time. So, but it's a really neat. It's a really neat group, and I love that we're all horsey girls, you know, and wanting to learn, and we're all kind of ranch wedding photographers or equestrian photographers. So it's just a group of like-minded people. So if you're wanting to join that for the year of 2023, it's $30 a month. So pretty dang cheap. Honestly, it's $1 a day, guys, and you're learning something every day. I mean, what a great deal. It's a tax write-off, and it's only $1 a day. So if you're wanting to join, head to laurenmavephotography.com and head to the shop tab, and you'll click on the LMP Collective, and you want to do that each month to sign up. And if you're not following us on socials, we're at the LMP Collective on Instagram and Facebook, and we're all over. So come find us. Also, you'll notice an option on my website when you get in there to be a part of the email list. That's kind of where I'm going to be keeping everybody up to date on you know, sales, upcoming sales and stuff. So. But I thought I would just fill you in on the educational group if you didn't know. It's a really great community of people, and a few cool things about it. I'm posting a tip of the day every day, if not a tutorial like this. But I'm also give everybody the right to, if you have a question or you're wanting to learn something, post about it in the Facebook group. It's a private group, and I will either do tutorial on it or teach it during one of our Zoom classes. So it's a really neat group. It's very interactive, and everybody will help everybody out, answering questions if I don't get to them, you know, before the group does. And yeah, it's a really, really neat group. So, okay, we've got this horse somewhat lined, and I'm kind of leaving out the mane and the tail right now. I'll get to that later. It's a little more difficult. So now I'm just going to fill this in, and like I said, Photoshop, there's 1,000 ways to do one thing. This is just how I do my thing. You know, if you go on, you know, here on YouTube or wherever you're viewing this, you know, you'll find 1,000 different ways, and maybe a way to do it easier. So, you know, research, you know, what works for you. And I I do know a lot of photographers these days aren't going to school, they're self-taught. You know, 20 years ago, when you're wanting to become a photographer, you went to school to be a photographer, and you learned Photoshop, you learned how to, you know, print and how to be in the studio, how to work with lights, and nowadays we're not seeing a lot of that. Pretty rarely do photographers go to school to become a, you know, a well-rounded photographer. So we're learning it, you know, off of YouTube. So, you know, I always advise that, you know, if you're a photographer and you got a lot of editing to do, you should buy a second monitor for your setup. And I just have YouTube running on my second monitor, and I'm just learning new things all the time while I'm editing. So that's always extremely helpful. So, okay, so I've got the same opacity on my brush as you can see, and I'm just coming in here and I'm filling in everything with black. Man, is it tedious, but this is how we do. And remember, guys, you can go on Creative Market and have somebody do this for you. You know, if you're at that point in your career where you can pay, you know, and your time is worth so much money that you can go pay somebody to do this, go on with it. So, not a bad thing. You know, and to be honest, if you got deadlines, go on with it. Pay somebody to do it. But if, you know, you're in your baby fresh photographer phase where you can't pay other people to do it, then you're going to have to learn how to do it yourself. And a lot of the skills that we learn doing black backgrounds are skills we might use, you know, elsewhere in Photoshop. So it's just good to learn new things. Let's see, what else can we talk about while we're doing all this tediousness? So we also have the workshop coming up this year. Yes, if you didn't know, I do run a workshop every year, guys, to all my YouTube people here. So in 2023, the workshop is November 3rd through the 5th. It's every year, it's the first weekend in November. It seems to work for us. I love it because the days are a little shorter, so we're not out there until 9, 10 o'clock. And we also have usually have a sunrise shoot that Sunday, and that's when the time changes. So we get an extra hour for our sunrise shoot, which is awesome. But it's all equestrian based photography. It's 3 days. It's located in Santa Ynez, California. The educational portion each day is at Eco Mama Farms in Santa Ynez, and they wine and dine us, and the place is incredible. It is at Rose Farm. It is just absolutely stunning, and we love being there. And then we do a beach photo shoot and a ranch photo shoot, and then each year I surprise you guys with a bonus Sunday photo shoot that I come up with, and it's always super incredible. So if you are wanting to join me and have a weekend of learning, you can go to Lauren May Photography and head to the shop tab again. Same place you're going to find the LMP Collective. You'll find the workshop, and yeah. Okay, so we're getting closer here. I am going to make an executive decision and just take out this main because it's pretty difficult to keep that main in there. There we go. So we're filling that in. Make sure to not get sloppy because that's when you know things are photoshopped. Also, make sure to use a soft brush here because those hard lines are usually how you can tell something's photoshopped. If you use a really hard brush, it tends to just look pretty artificial. So that soft brush, I have learned, is the key to black backgrounds and making them look realistic. Okay, so down here, we've got in between these legs. Beautiful, perfect. I am going to shade this tail. So I'm gonna press the 3 key and make it 30% opacity. And I'm just gonna kind of dodge and burn this tail so it's not, it's looking realistic. There we go. Okay, so it's not standing out. Okay, so now here we go. We've got our horse outlined and shaded in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to adjustments. I'm going to put a brightness contrast layer on there, and I am going to just crank it all the way up. There's a method to my madness. Don't worry, I got you. But look at all these spots that we missed. Can you see that? There's a bunch of spots. So what we're going to do, we're going to come down to our layer. We're going to press the X key that's going to give us black. I'm going to press the 0 key for 100% opacity on my brush. And sorry, we're going to have the white on, and we're going to draw in all of those spots. To make sure, because if your screen monitor is not calibrated correctly, those spots may show up on social media or when you print this image or when it goes on a website. It is possible, so we don't want to look like a fool. And so I'm just coming in here and making sure all of those spots are gone. Like I said, guys, it's tedious, but okay. So now I'm going to highlight that layer, press delete, and now we're looking better. Okay, so now let's fix the lead rope and this and all kinds of stuff. So we've got a bag with a hand over here. I'm going to press the S for stamp tool. I'm going to clone and stamp out this bag. Guys, if you're wanting to learn how to use the stamp tool, it is in some of my other tutorials. Okay, so we're getting better. I'm going to go to the patch tool and even out some of this because it just looked a little, we took the texture away and it looked a little funky. I love that patch tool. If you don't use it, try it out. It might change your life. It's really great for textures. Okay, so now we're going to stamp. I'm going to press S for a stamp tool, and I'm going to stamp out that lead rope. Okay, we're getting better. And don't worry if it's looking a little splotchy. We're going to come back in with the patch tool, and I'm going to kind of clone that texture. And so it's looking better. We're looking better, guys. Okay, cloning that texture with that patch tool is just such a great deal. Okay, so there's a bunch of hay over here. I kept sweeping it. They kept feeding horses. Usually I would be pretty on top of that, but it didn't work out. So I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to clone all this. I'm going to press Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and Command T so I can move it. And then I'm going to probably rotate it 180. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep rotating it. I'm going to make it a little bigger. And now I'm going to use a mask, press B for brush, and I'm just going to, I'm going to press X because I need black, and I'm just going to brush that. It's not matching very well, so let's fix it. Let's go to adjustments. I'm going to do a brightness contrast. I'm going to right click on it, create a clipping mask. That means it only goes to that layer, not all of the layers. And I'm going to brighten it a little bit. That's looking a little bit better. Okay, I'm going down to my mask again with that brush, and make sure I get rid of that kind of seam. And then I'm going to use my patch tool. I'm going to bring all these layers up. Use my patch tool, and I'm telling you guys, texture of the patch tool is a game changer. If you're wanting to create texture, that's how you do it. So, but I had to make sure that I don't get that line, so I kind of took a few steps back. And this is why the patch tool can be a little difficult, because it will make some funky things happen. So you just got to play around with it. Okay, that's looking so much better. Okay, so I'm still a little like, meh. Cool. I might bring my brightening dodge tool in here. I might brighten up this ground a little bit. Okay, finishing touches, guys. So I'm gonna fix up this eye. I'm gonna press the B tool for brush, option tool to clone the hair, and then I'm gonna make it brighter. Now I'm gonna press the 1 key to make 10% opacity. I'm gonna size that brush down, and I'm gonna give this horse some highlight in its eyeball. Ooh, look at that pop. Okay, look at that before and after, a little pop. We like it. We like it. It's really important to not make this horse what it's not. So I'm going to clean up some of the ground here because I'm an idiot and didn't sweep it again. Didn't realize they had fed. So I'm just cleaning up the ground. Boop. I hope this was helpful. I know it's long, I know it's tedious, but it's worth it to know how to do this. Yeah, I'm gonna come in here with the stamp tool for this. Cool, cool, cool. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, and it's gorgeous, and it's finished. And I hope that was helpful, guys. I will talk to you all later. If you got questions, ask them in the comment section, and I will try to get back to you.